let's think about the friends in our lives, especially those supporting women who experience trauma. Are they just buddies? Or could they be something deeper, like powerful forces in our stories? I want you to come and explore the layers of connections with us, especially as we support each other through the journey of overcoming trauma. I have a question for you ladies. Why is it so important? Think about it. Why is it so important to build healthy relationships on our healing journey? Now, I'm going to put that on the screen for a moment because I want you to think about it. And as we move on, as you think of your answers, please put them in the chat. Please put it in the chat. I want to repeat it again. Why is it so important to build healthy relationships on our healing journey? And you might kind of understand why, but we want to be able to educate people on the value of having supportive friends, particularly if you experience trauma. All right? Um, let's think about the friends in our lives. Let's think about them as we move along. And the friends I want you to think about, not just, I want you to think about all the friends that are in your life right now, because later on in this session, we're going to talk about how we assess our friendships. You know, are they good for us? Or are they not good for us? And then we're going to talk about the ones who may not be good for us. And, you know, we sometimes use that word toxic relationships. We're going to teach you how to actually have a conversation with someone to tell them right now, we may need some space, right? So let's continue. I'm so excited. You know, I have Coach Sonia with me, and both of us are going to talk about different perspectives when it comes to friendships. I'm going to share about why it is important to have healthy friendships, what is a healthy friendship, signs of a healthy friendship, and Coach Sonia is going to talk about who is not a healthy friend. And how do you determine who's not a healthy friend? All right. So I just want you to stick with us, you know, because building healthy relationship on a healing journey is so crucial because positive connections contribute to emotional support,
Mhm.
understanding, and encouragement. Healthy relationships provide a sense of belonging and makes you feel like, you know, there's someone there to support you. And it reduces the feelings of isolation that trauma can cause for some of us. I remember those times of feeling isolated because I didn't feel I could talk to someone about it, you know, until I realized and got the courage and looked around. And I had some people that I could talk and they were supportive. And I'm going to talk a little bit about them. And also, Sonia's going to talk about the friends in her life, right? Those who were supportive and those who were not supportive. All right. So with that, we're going to stop and pause, and I'm going to send it over to Sonia so she can do a little housekeeping.
Of course, of course. Hello. So, hello, I am trauma addiction recovery coach Sonia, and my focus is on supporting women who experience addictive behaviors as a trauma response. For example, substance misuse, being promiscuous, eating disorder, and also self-harm, because self-harm is it's also a coping mechanism that we use sometimes to cope with our traumas. So yes, drawing from my own personal experiences and my journey of overcoming various traumas, I am committed to provide a safe and supportive space for my coaching clients to heal and grow on their continuing recovery journey. So my approach doesn't directly treat addiction, but instead equips my clients with tools and techniques to develop resilience and mechanisms and self-care. Sorry, and self-care practices. I also help them manage triggers and building positive coping mechanisms, empowering them to live a healthy, fulfilling life beyond addiction or addictive behaviors.
Yes.
So, yes, ladies, hello, hello, hello. I am excited too. I am thrilled. This is our last episode, our
Yes.
last part, the last part of
Mhm,
the Cupid's
mhm.
Chronicles. So, it's been great. So, let me share a little bit about the housekeepings for tonight. So, I'm Trauma Addiction Recovery Coach Sonia, and I will be actively monitoring the comment section. So, the following ways you can interact is You can put a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from, ladies. Let us know where you're tuning in.
Mhm.
When we put it, Natalie puts a question. When we post a question on top, please comment. Um, Answer the question if it applies to you or you've been in a similar situation. So please do that. Let us know. Also, if you have any questions, if it's about tonight's topic or not, we will actually respond to you in a timely manner. So
Yes.
just bear with you. This is the opening welcome. This is your time to shine and let us know who you are. And remember, if you're logging in from um, what you call it? I'm sorry. If you're logging in from StreamYard from Facebook, please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell so we
Yes.
be able allow StreamYard permission so we can view your name. Please allow StreamYard permission. So we also have the the live question segment. So when we do that, please feel free to respond and participate on the question. Ask any questions, share your thoughts as well. We'll be stay tuned because we will be making some announcements. We have
Mhm.
how you can get a free worksheet. All you have to do is tune in for 3 consecutive YouTube lives. So she's taking a live back a women's word talk show. That's the first one. You got to tune in to 3 consecutive YouTube lives. The second one, you have to interact with us. You have to let us know you're here. So you have to participate either by letting us know where you at and also by responding to the questions that we put on our lives. The third one, it's invite a friend, not just
Yes.
any friend, but someone that you know that would benefit from this healing journey, from finding purpose and breaking free from self-limited belief and everything that she's taking life is about. If you are in your trauma healing journey, but you
Mhm.
still feel like there's more to life, this is
Yes.
the place for you to be and bring that friend along with you and you will free win one of our free workbooks because they're
Yeah.
actually workbooks. We be mentioning worksheets. It's
Yeah.
not one, it's not two, it's not three, it's more than them. They're
Yes.
very beneficial. I even work on them. I love it when I go through any situation or I think I feel I need, I work on my own workbooks or worksheets. I practice and I do that, and that's how I manage to cope sometimes with a lot of resurfacing past trauma because even though we're coaches, we still deal with resurfaced past traumas. So, other than that, we just want to hear your voice. What topics you would like for us to explore in the future? We want to hear your input. So, remember, go to our YouTube page and subscribe. Hit the like button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes in YouTube. And she's taking live back lives. Okay. So,
That's
other
right.
than that, I am going to give it back to my trauma mindset coach, Natalie.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. And like Sonia said, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We are a growing community, and it's so important that we reach as many women as we can who experience trauma. So yes, like Sonia says, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and share the live. Share the live. And let me just share a little bit about myself. I am Natalie Manning, and I'm the CEO of She's Taking Her Life Back, which hosts a woman's worth talk show. And I am a trauma mindset coach as well. And this journey just began with my own personal trauma and overcoming some obstacles in my life and learning how to change my mindset. Because I learned that, even though we're out of those situations, those situations still are in our head. So our mindset has to be renewed, right? So this is the reason why I developed She's Taking Life Back. And this is the reason why Sonia and I are on this talk show to help you take your life back and let you know that as a woman, you are worth something, right? So
Absolutely.
hello, beautiful souls. Again, I want to welcome you to another episode of A Woman's Worth Talk Show. And as we wrap up Cupid's Chronicles, like Sonia said, this is part 4 of February's Trauma Informed Chats. We just want to take a moment to express our gratitude for joining us on this journey. In this final episode, the foundation of friendship, building healthy connections. Wow, doesn't that sound like something? You know what? So yeah, thank you for being a part of these conversations. This show is not just about us, it's about all of us who experience trauma. But let's get into today's episode. Today's episode is going to be incredibly empowering and uplifting because we're diving deep into the foundation of friendships. We're talking about building healthy connections, specifically women like you and like
Mhm.
us who experience past trauma and on our journey to achieve success in obtaining healthy friendships. And not
Right.
only just healthy friendships that are aligned with the life we want to live, right? It's important that we
Mm.
have them. Our friends are one of our biggest cheerleaders, in addition to some of our family members. So we will also explore what a healthy relationship is. Again, we're going to
Absolutely.
give you 3 reasons that someone also may not be a good friend to a
Absolutely.
woman who experienced trauma. And again, 3 ways someone who can be a great friend. And this segment is so important because sometimes when we talk about friendships, we choose them for the wrong reasons. Sometimes we choose them out of loyalty, but it's time that we need to assess our current friendships. It's that time if you want to go into the next level of your life, right? So before we start, again, hit that notification bell. I'm going to keep on reminding you to hit that bell, subscribe, so you will never miss another episode of Women's Worth Talk Show, right? So let's jump into this life-changing discussion. Let's talk about segment number 1. Let's start off by actually defining friendships. What is a friendship? Sometimes we use that word real loosely, but let's talk about what is a friendship. When I talk about friendship, I'm talking about a healthy friendship. So healthy friendships are built on 3 important aspects. It's built on trust, it's built on respect, and it's built on open communication. We want to look for friends who celebrate our successes. We want them to support us during our challenges, and we want them to genuinely care about our well being. So
Absolutely.
it's about surrounding yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. And
Mhm.
it all begins with self awareness. That's
Mhm.
one of the first things we need to know. So before we invite anybody into our life, we have to understand our own values, our own boundaries, and what we are going to bring to the friendship, right? We got to think about that. It's not only
Absolutely.
about what they're going to do for us, it's about what we are also bringing to that friendship.
Absolutely.
And it's important to communicate openly and honestly, and also be willing to invest time and effort into your relationships. And one of the good things, and it's important for my friends, is that you need to be a good listener. That is a strong, strong aspect of the friends that I want in my life. I want you to hear me, right? I also
Absolutely.
want you to know that conflict is inevitable, but it's just how we handle those conflicts that matters. Again, communication is key. Be open to express your feelings, listen to your friend's perspective. Also, again, prioritize quality time together and celebrate each other's growth. Strong foundation of friendship is going to weather any storm that you experience, right? So we're going to move on to segment number 2. We're going to talk about 3 reasons. Well, Coach Sonia is going to talk about 3 reasons someone might not be a good friend. Here we go.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you right now 3 reasons why someone may not be a good friend. And mostly during our healing journey, when we decide that we want to heal and we want to turn our life around because we know there's a greater purpose out there for ours and we
Yes.
are trying to get there. And we always, not all relationships may be supportive during your healing journey. And we
Mhm.
know this because let's discuss the 3 reasons, okay? Someone
Mhm.
might not be a good friend. So, signs of a toxic relationship includes constant criticism, lack of empathy, also
Mhm.
undermining your goals.
Yes.
So, imagine, just let me put it like this: you're trying to heal, and you have this person constantly pulling you down and pulling you back. So, we're going to be discussing this, and I'm going to give you some examples as well. So, they're undermining consistently drain all of your emotional well-being. If a relationship constantly makes you feel worse
Mhm.
rather than better, it may not be a supportive friendship. It
Yes.
may not be a supportive friendship. So let me give you 3 reasons someone might not be a good friend. Undermining progress. So toxic individuals may constantly criticize or belittle your efforts, undermining your progress, and cre- creating self doubt, hindering your healing progress. So let me
Have you
tell you a
ever?
little bit about.
Yeah, go ahead, Coach. I just wanted to chime in on that one, but go ahead.
Yes,
Sound like
I want to
you have
say.
something to say.
Yes, I'm gonna say like this. In
Mhm,
my own personal experience, my trauma mindset coach Natalie, when
mhm,
I was on my healing journey, I told you I had friends that were friends when I was on my addiction, and I consider friends because they were down there when I was down there, you know. But when I decided to turn my life around and come to Georgia, it was a whole different. It was just making me feel like you believe you're better. Oh, now
mhm,
you can't come. Oh, I
mhm,
thought you were coming next month. Oh, you said you were finishing the program, and you know it kept making me feel like I it made me feel like I was putting hurting them when I
yeah.
was trying to better myself.
Mhm,
And the way that was doing, like the belittling me, it was like, oh, you forget where you come from. Oh, you forgot what you were. They were constantly reminded me of
yeah,
what I used to be,
yeah,
where I
yeah.
was coming from. I know
Mhm,
where I was coming from. And when we're on the healing journey, we have to separate those two, trauma mindset culturality. We know
yes.
where we're coming from, we know where we came out from, but we know that we're doing it for a bigger purpose for
Mhm,
ourselves. We're getting better. And one thing that you told me the other day when we were having our 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 own team meeting,
mhm,
mindset, trauma mindset culturality, because that's what I'm talking about, friends.
mhm,
She told me you have to level up. don't don't ever underestimate, and that's what we're talking about. So go
mhm.
ahead, Natalie. I'm gonna trauma mindset coach Natalie, I'm gonna let you chime in on that one, and then I'll move to the second one.
Absolutely. You know, Coach Sonia, I'm going to talk about it kind of from a different perspective and my own personal experience when we talk about the word friends. Um, because of my take on unhealthy relationships and all those men that were in my life, with the exception of one that was unhealthy, my life was actually surrounded by the men in my life. And
Mm.
I can even think of now, like my last best friend, her name was Paula, was years ago until she passed away. And since then, honestly, I haven't had what I consider extremely close friends. And I say that because I know there's women out there like me who kept themselves either distanced themselves from friends or either surrounded their life around a relationship. And me was relationship and my kids, and that's it. And the reason why I did that is because in my mind, it was like, I don't want to deal with the nonsense. I don't want to deal with the undermining. I don't want to deal with the draining energy. And if I can distance myself and not be a part of that friend thing, I can avoid that. But let me say this too before I move on. I also have a different kind of definition of friendship. Like I have friends and I have associations, right? So a lot of the people in my life, and I know a lot of people, they may consider me a friend, but I consider them association. And I just want to put that out there. So I'm saying that because we use the word friend a lot in this conversation, but I want to speak on the behalf of people who, like me, like we had a whole lot of associations, but friends, and that's because of the trauma that I experienced, right? But I also want to say this, even though I had associations, I still experienced some of this. So when you talk about undermining progress, I'm thinking of this one association that I have in my life. And I remember that I was trying to build, and I think I shared about this on another talk show about I was, thinking about building my own counseling agency. And that person was like, well, I don't know if you can do that because, you need this particular credential and you need this and you need this. And I was like, goodbye, goodbye. Like, I'm that type of person. Please don't tell me what I need. And believe me, I know that she was well meaning, but that is undermining progress. Like, if you're going to be in my life, please tell me, like, you might not be able to do this or take a look at this, but you can do this. Don't come and just say what I can't do. That's undermining my progress. And for me, I'm sorry, that's just toxic. So I'm going into this life, this new chapter in my life, thinking about, adding more friends to my life. And I recently added someone who I knew for a couple of years, but we recently got close. I'm actually in her house now. And she's well, I'm going to speak about her when we talk about qualities of a good relationship. But far as a negative relationship, I can't be around anybody that's trying to pull me down. It's just like, I can't do that. But I know there are women out there that do have people in their life that undermine their progress. And it's time to kind of rethink your relationship with them. You may want to think about it. And we're going to talk about that later. How we rethinking relationships, how we rethinking friendships. Coach Sonia?
Yes, moving forward, I want to talk. Our point number two is going to be draining energy.
Ah,
Surrounding yourself with toxic people can be emotionally exhausting. Their negativity, the drama
ah,
can drain your energy, making it hard
yeah,
to focus.
I
Oh my God, self care and recovery and having to deal with a toxic person like that. I am going to speak on this one
can't.
because being an assistant manager at my job, I have to run a whole, it's a whole 30 some employees, okay? It's like 40, but 30 some on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And as I started as a employee, Natalie. So when I was in recovery, that was my first job coming out straight out of recovery. My job. I've been there for 5 years
Mm-hmm.
in that job. Um, and you start and you have people you associate with, but you consider friends because you see them on a daily basis and you spend 8 of your hours associating with these people. And we get mixed up the friendship with the association. And that is
Yes,
very important
yes,
because we do. And
yes.
mostly when I was coming out of there, I still hadn't healed completely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on my journey of transformation and growth. I don't think I'm ever going to stop because I love learning and I love being able to find more tools and more techniques and more
Mm-hmm.
ways to cope with my past traumas, with my emerging traumas. And if anything was to happen in the future, I'm already planning, okay, if this happens, if that happens, I'm going to figure this out. So I would mistake friendship, but then I would hear these people on my days off talking about me. And I'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, and I thought that was my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the ones I don't hang around at work. And then you turn into a position because I went into a leadership position.
Mm-hmm.
And right there, my energy was being drained, my self-care. I am happy that I have good friends and good support system. Even I didn't know how to work it, but I did. And the person that was my best friend, my spouse, he told me, you're getting off work, you're taking a mental breakdown, and you're going to see your psychiatrist, Natalie. I had to because once I went into the leadership position, they try to talk to me any kind of way, like, oh, I'm late because you're opening, so I'm late. So they
Mm-hmm.
were like, I thought we were
Mm-hmm.
friends. No, we have work. I'm your leader. So
Yes.
I had to set boundaries, but I was being drained at first because it was confusing to step into that leadership.
Oh
And
yeah.
sometimes that's one thing that being with friendship, when they try to use you, because if it's a friend, because I have people and employees and co-workers that I consider friends because they wanted to see you grow. You deserve this position. They tell you, I know this was for you. You understand, Natalie? So you
Mm-hmm.
know which ones are the good ones and you know which ones are trying to tell you, oh,
Absolutely.
well, now you can't come. Well, I need to come on this area. I can't go in this area no more because I'm not part of this team no more. I gotta come with the what they call me over here. So it was making it hard for me to
Mhm.
choose. And at the end of the day, you have to choose what's best for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Natalie, anything you want to share?
Oh my God, just hearing the word draining energy just does something to me. And again, because of how I operate, and keeping myself like having this buffer around my life, a
Mm,
lot of times which was not healthy, but it was a result of my trauma. Oh my God, I found it so easy to distance myself from draining energy. I can't. I just can't do it. Um, I am such a go-getter. It's important for me to be around people to like want to talk about getting to the next level. But if I'm around somebody that's like talks about like the negative stuff and just always talking about how pessimistic, how life is just bad, and how things are always bad, and they're never gonna get anywhere, and the government is not gonna let them get anywhere. It's like I can't. I totally can't. So because I've kind of lived a life like really having a small circle, for me personally, it is really easy to distance myself from people, right? And it got to the point where some people took offense to that, and that's because I just can't be around someone that's draining. And and it took me years to become okay with that. It's okay for me to decide who is going to be in my life and who is not going to be in my life. And if you're just always draining, now I can be around someone who needs to talk about or vent about what they're going through. I can do that easily. Being a counselor comes second nature. But if you're always talking about the problem and never want to move into the solution, because I met some of them, as soon as you say, okay, so what's the solution? They want to push the conversation back to the problem. And you're trying to move them to the solution, and they want to stay stuck in the problem. And I can't like I hate to say this, but it's the truth. This is a talk show, keeping it real. You know, my ghost game is on point. Like, see ya. Sometimes I have to draw back on that. But I've learned at least, like, are we going to find a solution to that? And if you're not about, listen, how can we fix this after you get it off your chest? You're too draining for me. The energy is draining. But I do also want to speak on behalf of the women who are not able to do that. It's important that we talk about that, because it's easy for me to do that, Sonia, and you're able to do that because of your own journey of healing. There are women out there who are all around draining people who drain their energy and they remain with them, and for many different reasons, maybe out of loyalty, maybe because I just don't want to be by myself, or I don't know anybody that's willing to uplift me and help support me as I move further down the road in my life to the life I want to live. So we're going to have some answers for you on how to do that because it can be difficult. It can be difficult. Um, Even some people, real quickly as we move on, like some people consider like family members as friends, and some people do that. They're close to some family members and others, and don't want to separate from them because you know what? That's my family. Like
Mhm. Yes.
sometimes you gotta make that hard
Absolutely.
decision if we really want to heal our trauma and move on with our life into a life that we really want to have. Got to make that hard decision, right, Coach Sonia?
Okay, so I'm gonna move to the next one, and this one is one of mine.
Oh yeah, this your area, Sonia.
So it's gonna be triggering relapses. So
Yes.
toxic individuals may trigger past traumas. They may encourage you to go into unhealthy behaviors, as well as increasing the risk of a relapse and setbacks in your recovery journey or healing journey. So, on this one, I'm going to be very honest to you. I am going to speak to you on the trauma addiction recovery coach mindset. I'm going
Mhm.
to speak to you as a trauma addiction recovery coach because my honesty is I haven't put myself in this situation to be around people that are going to take me down in that path road because I have to protect myself. So
Yes.
I take myself out of certain situations. And
Mhm.
of course, I have family. I have a child, so I have 8 children. So I have to think a lot before I put myself in an unhealthy. I've been in situations where I've been to gatherings of family members um, from my husband, and once it starts getting everybody's doing their party, their drink, everything, I'm okay. I'm okay. But once I see people start acting up, I remove myself from the situation. If they
Mhm.
start screaming too loud, I gotta go because it triggers something on me. The loudness, the screaming. So I'm gonna talk about this one real quick. As a trauma addiction recovery coach, I can tell you because I do my research, because I do my work, ladies. So I'm gonna tell
Mhm.
you if you're in a relationship where your partner constantly is reminding you about your past, bringing it up, that is that can bring up past traumas that can make you relapse. If the person that's considered your friend is constantly telling you how, oh, you could have done better.
Mm.
Oh, you could have done better. Oh, why didn't you take that? You could have just, if we're speaking about they want to go somewhere, you don't want to go. Oh, why are you like that? You a party pooper. You could have just came and hang. You don't need to drink. You could have just been there. We were having so much fun. And then you go, and then that, if you know you're not strong enough to go, if you know that even if you feel that I'm strong enough, you know it still might trigger something. Don't put yourself in situations, because those are not your friend. Your friend is going to tell you, you know what, I'm going to go over here, but we can hang later, or we can go together, and once you feel uncomfortable, we can leave together. That is a friend. So I'm telling you, there are different types of unhealthy friendships that can make you
Yeah.
resurface past traumas.
Hmm.
If that friend is, if it's a relationship, a boyfriend, a husband, um and he's pulling you or something, trying to hold you back too strong, it also might be a toxic and unhealthy friendship or relationship, because it might trigger something. The physical touch, if it's too harsh, so sometimes you need to step yourself away from that situation so you won't go back to your situations. Maybe finding somebody to talk to,
Yeah.
maybe finding your support group and say, hey, this is what's going on and this is what's happening. I feel like my breathing changes. I feel like I can't move. Speak, and let somebody know how you're feeling. And if you don't have that person right away, we always talk about put it down in a journal, because I'm really worried about um, everybody's recovery and their healing journey. Even if it's addictive, if you have an eating disorder and you've been healing from that, and this person is constantly tell you about, oh, you look skinny, you look, it's a lot of ways they can trigger you to relapse and go back into
Hmm.
that situation.
Yes.
I've known women that also have addictive behaviors, that when they encounter trauma or any past situation that may trigger something, they hurt themselves, either they cut themselves or do something. So you don't want to go back to those addictive negative behaviors. So that's why we're here to show you what kind of friendships you shouldn't surround yourself with, ladies. Because that's
Yes.
why we're here
Yes.
to coach you.
Thank you, Coach Sonia. That's your area, right? Trauma
Yeah.
addiction recovery coach Sonia, like triggering relapses. And as you were talking, Sonia, and as I, was thinking about toxic individuals that may trigger your past trauma, I remember a situation in my own life, and this was years ago. And it was somebody that I was in a relationship with years ago. This I'm talking about when I was 17. So I'm now 61, right? So like because of Facebook, like let's move forward like 30 years, 30, 40 years. We started communicating like a past boyfriend, communicating, just having conversations, and not with the intent of developing rekindling a relationship, but it started off with him apologizing to me. Like, I'm sorry for, what happened. I was 17, and I'm like, that's still no excuse when you're 17. But he went on to like apologize, and I'm like, okay. And then having conversation with him and appearing like, he has gotten healthier, right? So, and mind you, he's from New York because that's where I'm from. Mind you, on one of my trips to New York, and I said, let me just stop, and let's meet and let's say hi, meet somewhere and say hi. Did that. This man like triggered all kinds of things in me, just being in his presence, just some of the conversations that he was having. And I was like, you know what? I got to get the hell out of here. I got to get the hell out of here. Even though like this was like 40, 50 years ago when the traumatic experience has it happened, just being around him and just hearing some of this conversation, I was like, this is triggering too much stuff for me. This is triggering past trauma stuff for me. And this is not good for me. Time to get out. Time to get out. So that's a personal thing that happened to me. We got to be real careful. Even with people from years ago, we get people, and there's other situations that people in my life who were not good for me, who triggered trauma experiences, like when I was much younger and try to jump onto Facebook or some other social media platform to apologize. And you know what? This is what I say. I accept your apology. And I say it nice in this, but this is where it ends. I
Yeah.
accept your apology, but we're not going to be able to go forward. There is no going forward. There is no meeting up again. There is none of that. But thank you for your apology, and I accept your apology. And this how it ends. I am not going to put myself in the presence of anybody like I did years ago who may risk me triggering a trauma response. And Coach Sonia, you'll hear her talk about um, even if you've been like out of that triggering situation for years, just being in the presence, just being around the wrong people can cause you to revert back to old behaviors. Like Sonia even said, you may even get around somebody and say, "Oh, I know this guy may be good for you," and like that person is such a trigger, such a
Mhm.
reminder of old behaviors. It's like, you
Absolutely.
know what? I can't be around that person. That person may have good intentions, but that person doesn't understand my trauma journey. That person doesn't understand like being in the presence of someone who can trigger stuff is not good for me and has the potential to revert me back to old behaviors. Like Sonia said, for some people, it's even if you've been clean or sober, even if you have not been eating for years, even if you avoided those unhealthy behaviors for years, you can be triggered and it can revert you back to using substances. It can revert you back to overeating. It can do that. So I'm really mindful of who I have around me and making sure that person is not triggering for me. Even with me having 35 years of being clean and sober, even me being years and years out of an unhealthy relationship, even years and years out of a domestic violence situation, I'm real careful who I'm in the presence of and who I invite in my life because you're not going to trigger me back to old ways. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. So Sonia, back to you.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking, I said, I'm going to speak about three negative influences, but I'm going to share real quick what these three negative influences are. I'm not going to stick into it too much, ladies, because I want you all to understand that we provide very valuable information. We take the time to sit down and research all this information and bring you all this value information. But we also want you to get this coping skills and learn them yourself. So please work on that. We have the workbook available for you all.
Mhm.
So just a reminder, we have worksheets and workbooks available. And I also want to hear what mindset coach Natalie got to speak about good friends and her coping skills. So let me move into this one real quick. So surrounding yourself with negativity and hindering your can can affect your healing process. Well, this I'm going to discuss how these three negative influencers can impact your mindset. Okay. So number one is promoting pessimism. So constant exposure to negativity can lead to a pessimistic outlook, making it challenging to see opportunities and solutions positively. Natalie, did I say it correct? Positively?
Positivity. Yeah, is that what you're saying? Positivity.
Yes, because Ron will be
Positivity.
like, I'll be getting in trouble at home.
That's okay. But we know English is your second language, and you're doing well, Sonia. Go ahead.
So number two is undermining confidence. So criticism and disencouragement from negative influencers can erode self-confidence, creating self-doubt and hindering your beliefs and ability. So sometimes we can ask how can well, let me tell you how real quick. If they undermine your abilities to do anything, they're always telling you, oh, you can't do, oh,
Yes.
you could have done
Hmm.
something better. It always makes you doubt yourself and say,
Yes.
well, maybe I'm not good enough for this. Maybe
Hmm.
I shouldn't even do it. Maybe I should just stay at home. So you don't want none of this pessimist and undermining unconfident people around you. They are not your friends.
Yeah.
Listen to me, they are not your friends. And
Yes.
the third one is limited growth. What do they do? They limit your growth. Negative influence may discourage personal growth, fostering a mindset that resists change and innovation, like oh, hindering your potential for improvement and success. They might always tell you that's not for you.
Mhm.
You don't need to do that. You can just stay at home and watch the kids. Why you want to go and get a job? Why you think you can be a teacher now?
Hmm.
You didn't do it before. What makes you want to do it now? I'm working. You can just stay at home.
Yes.
Why would I just want to stay at home? And then the day you leave, I can't support myself because I stayed at home and listened to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now I gotta go leave with a family member because I wasn't good enough to go get a job. So we can't let these people limit ourselves, limit our beliefs. So we have to know how to break free from this negative people and
Yeah.
say enough is enough. If you're not here with me for the triumph and the growth in the long run, baby, you gotta hit
Hmm.
the door. You gotta pack your bags and hit that door.
Left. Yes. 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 Yeah, Sonya, like, yeah, at this stage of my life, I'm not around. I don't have people around me that are pessimistic. I'm
Mhm.
not, but for those who are, yeah, that again is draining. Like
Mhm.
someone who constantly tell you, like Sonya said, you're not gonna make it. Like,
Mhm.
first of all, when we're talking about women who experience trauma and have not really done a lot of healing, like, come on, we have our own self-doubt. We have
Yeah.
our own messages in our head from our
Mhm.
past that telling us that we're not good enough. We already have that going on. And just to be surrounded by somebody to add on to that,
Mhm.
like Sonia said, that can easily talk you out of where you're trying to go. Because
Mhm.
when we're talking about helping women break through self-limited beliefs, right? We want to help you do that so you can live the life that you want to live. And remember, this life we're talking about is a life that is bigger than we ever had. It could be, based on having a healthy relationship when you never had one. So we're
Mhm.
talking about moving to places that we have never been, which is
Beautiful.
already anxiety driven, right? Whether you have trauma or not, when you move into the unknown, that triggers anxiety, right? But if you have trauma, that increases the anxiety, right? We already have that going on. Why do I need to hear that from someone else?
Mhm.
Add on to
Exactly.
it, right?
Mhm.
I can, you know what I mean? So it's important to remove them out of your life because again, they'll talk you out of the living the life that you want to live. When we already fearful of going to what's next in our life, right? It's time to again reassess the friendships you have in your life. If you don't have quality friends, reassess the associations you have in your life. Yeah,
Absolutely.
they're very negative. And we got to ask ourselves, why am I even around them? Like,
Mhm.
what's the purpose?
Yes.
Yes, Sonia. Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely. So now we're gonna give it back to if ladies, if you can relate to having any of this type of friends, please put it in the comment box. If you weren't able to watch the live, but you do watch the replay, you can still put on a comment. Don't think just because you're watching a replay you can't comment and you
Yes.
missed it. You will never miss our YouTube lives. If you go and watch any of our replays, we always reviewing our YouTube lives. We're always on our channel, so we will respond to your comments. Okay. So
Yes. Thank you for sharing that.
it's time for ways where someone can be a great friend. So it's time. I want to hear the goodies. I want to
Yeah.
hear the good news.
Yes. So
Tell
yes, it
me
is
your
good
story.
news. If you're someone, has is around toxic people or toxic friends, or even well-meaning friends, but they just don't know how to support someone who experienced trauma. You know what I mean? They just naturally pessimistic, like we said. We're gonna now talk about keys keys to someone who could be a great friend. What does that look like? So
Mm,
I have a question for you before I move on. How can women recognize and cultivate healthy friendships? How can you do that?
mm,
Now, we just finished talking about, toxic friendships, but how can we cultivate healthy relationships with friends? Are there any specific qualities we should be mindful of?
yeah.
Is there?
We
So
are
let's talk about it because we're going to talk about six of them, right?
yes.
So here are the six keys that someone can be a meaningful and enduring friend to women who experience trauma, right? Again, the first one is, like I said earlier in this show, is like it starts with self awareness. Again, think about your own values, right? Think about your boundaries. Think about what you will accept and what you will not accept. Again, think about what you want to bring in a relationship. Because before you can even, invite the right people in your life, you got to know, like, what is it that you want? What boundaries you don't want them to cross? What values that you have? You want to make sure that some of their values match your values. You want to know that from the beginning. So start with your own self. Become self-aware of what you bring, what you want in a friendship, right? So that's number one, right? Number two, and I don't have the banners up, but I'm going to talk about number two, which is trust and communication. That's a big word, trust, and especially when you're talking about women experience trauma. But trust and communications are the foundations of a healthy friendship. If you don't have trust and you're not able to communicate, right there, the relationship is not healthy. By having open communication, this fosters trust. It's important to have open communication. A great friend is consistent, is dependable,
Mhm.
and there for the person, providing a reliable source of support. I mean, have you ever been with a friendship and like you never can count on them? Like you're doing all the giving, and when you need them, they're not there for you. That is not a reliable, supportive friend. You need to be able to you need to be able to say, like, if I have this issue and my friend is available, I know they're going to be there to support me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like if I'm thinking about this new life that I want to live, like she's taking life back is always talking about, like this new life and this life I've never had before. I need to talk about some people like I want to move to my next life, but I'm kind of scared. Like I've never been to that life before. Now I'm moving into the world of uncomfortability, the world of unknown. You need someone to talk to about that. You need someone to encourage you. You need someone to say, you know what? Even if it's scary, even if it's, a world you've never been in, I'm going to be here with you. So when you start being afraid and need someone to talk to, I'm going to be the one that's going to be listening to you. I'm going to listen to you. And I'm not going to push you harder than you need to be pushed. And coast on your nose. I believe in, like, you got to raise the bar. Like, we're not
Mhm.
talking about keeping people where they're at. For me, that's not a friend. Don't keep me in the same place, but nudge me. Say, you know what, we're going higher. I need that person to say, we're going higher. You know what? It's going to be okay. I want you to live out your dreams. You've been through all these traumatic experiences. You deserve the life you want to live. You deserve it. So you want that. You want
Mhm.
someone to be supportive, and again, you want someone to help celebrate the small victories together.
Absolutely.
That's one thing, we believe in supporting, victories here. So when we meet goals, we want to say, and I'm such a clapper, like,
Yeah.
you know me, I'm like, I do.
Yeah.
My children, my grandchildren, they looking at me like, grandma, like, mom, like,
Mhm.
I need to clap for you.
Yes.
I want to be your biggest cheerleader. You
Absolutely. Mhm. Absolutely. I
celebrate.
was
How whether it's
I
upset,
was used.
whatever, celebrate it. You know.
Absolutely.
Some of us have never been celebrated before, so we need friends to do things for us that we probably it's hard for us to do for ourselves. So celebrate, bring your friends in,
Mhm.
celebrate those small victories, and also just remember that healing is a journey; it's not a destination. So surround yourself with those who are going to uplift you. Coach Sonia, as I'm going through these keys, let me know if you want to jump in and you have something to share about them.
Real quick, Natalie. I just think that yes, communication, like you were speaking about communication, it is fundamental communication because trust and communication. At first I wasn't open up with my relationship, and I was like Natalie said, she let go of Mr. Right for the wrong reasons, but I was in the same space in my own way. I
Mhm.
was still
Yeah.
looking into my past and what I went through, that I didn't want to risk putting myself in that
That's
situation
right.
again. That I
Yes.
was trying
Oh.
to build a wall to protect myself from being hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, if I don't do it, I don't have to worry about starting all over again. But
Yes.
I would have lost um big, big. And I am grateful that we were able to communicate and trust one another, and I can tell him my deepest thoughts and secrets, and he shares the same with me. But not only that, but we can give each other advice.
Mhm.
At
Yes.
first, it's just building that trust. It's like now you can just walk in the house and say the dumbest thing, and and you can feel comfortable to say it because you know me, and I know you. And if you're going through the worst thing, you can just say, right now, I just feel like this. And that person is going to tell you, come here, you can cry right here. I got you. And then
Mhm.
once you finish
Yeah.
crying, we're going to sit down and we're going to figure this out
Mhm.
together. But trust and communication, Natalie, I love it. I
Yes.
believe that's the start. And from there, everything will build strong. If the foundation is solid, ain't nothing can drop that down.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I just want to go back to the trust, particularly we talk about women who experience trauma. I know a lot of times that women are very apprehensive to like develop new friendships. I know that was my experience, and it's because of past trauma, and I had to do some healing work, and I had to really disconnect some information that I carried in my head from the past, like because a lot of these reasons why that I was so distant from women and developing friendships, and in my mind always saying associations and not friendships, is because of my past trauma. Like, I don't want to get too close to you. I don't want to give you an opportunity, to do something that's going to hurt me. Or I didn't want you to reject me. So I kept myself at a distance. So I had to do a lot of healing with my trauma mindset. And as a result of that, it allowed me to begin to open the doors of inviting new people in my life, right? And because also I had to learn some things. I had to learn about, okay, these are my boundaries. If we're going to move forward, these are my boundaries, these are my values. So if you can respect that, then I can open up the door and maybe trust you a little bit, and then I can see, then if everything is okay, I can trust you a little bit more. But I'm not going to open the door and just allow my whole life as soon as I meet someone. And I'm saying that because I've witnessed that kind of thing with people who want to develop friendships. They open the door and they open up their lives too quickly to people they do not know, because again, it's a risk, and we got to open up ourselves step by step. We have to learn how to do it. We're going to talk more about that later. But I've seen women, like, you don't even know that person and you just telling them all of your business. Or like on jobs, I'm real. When I go to work, I'm real professional, but I often click with one or two people and I talk to them about things, but you're not getting everything. Like, I know people on jobs, they just tell their entire life. Like, everybody in the job know everything about you. Like, no, no, you don't know who these people are. So when you open up the door like that, you really risking yourself for rejection. And then you're going to wind up closing the door because now you don't trust. It's because you didn't learn how to trust. You don't just open up the door for everything. And even someone doing that, that's really a trauma response. It's like, I want to be needed. I want to belong so much that I'm going to just let you on in. Again, that could be a setup to be rejected and hurt. So we're going to talk about how you go, how you do that. We're going to talk about it briefly. We can't talk about it on the show. And like Coach Sonia said, I'm going to talk more about it a little bit later about the workbook that we have to help you begin to actually figure out who should be a good friend. What are the steps you should be taking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to key number 3. Like Sonia said, for the sake of time, we want to make sure we give you all the information we can within this hour and a half. So key number 3, mutual understanding and respect. So important. Friendships flourish when there's mutual understanding and respect. You know, um, there's such an importance of embracing differences and respecting each other's individuality. We have to understand that. But even when we have like best friends or close friends, everything about us is not going to be the same. So the differences that we have to respect each other's differences. But you also have to ask yourself, is the differences that I see in front of me, is this somebody, is this part of my value? Is this something that I can embrace? That's a question you have to ask. I love this part. This is where I'm going to talk about a new friendship that I invited in my life right now, right? And she was on our show. I hope it's okay to say her name. I'm in the house now. But she's somebody who I knew for years, but we recently got close, like toward the end of 2003, and even up to now. And we talk forever. We talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. That is not me. Anybody that knows me, like if I don't click with you, there's very little that I'm gonna say to you. Very little. But one of the things I love about her is that, like, even the first time we met, like years ago, before we came a little bit closer, we were talking for hours. It's just something about her spirit that I love. But you know, at the same time, there's differences between us. There's differences. And I can accept her differences and she can accept my differences because I value her. I value what she brings. I one of the things I love about her that we have that are similar values and that we both truth tellers. Oh, we're gonna tell you the truth. That is like one of the values that are like really up there. And if you're gonna be my friend, like that's like I want to say, God, what is it? Number one, number two is one of them. You have to be able to tell me your truth if you're gonna be my friend. I can't have someone that's like, I don't want to tell you the truth because I'm afraid of hurting your feelings. That's not a friend to me.
Absolutely.
I may be mad, and there were times when we had communication. She was mad at me, and I might have been upset because I wanted her to do something, but it was okay. We allowed each other to be upset, and we was able to talk about some things. We were able to do that. Um, I'm so tempted to say some of the conversation we had, but I'm not. I'm not. But at the end of the day, what I want to say is that we embrace each other. Even though all of our values are not the same, but because of the real important values of my life, she matches. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. I opened my heart to her, and I don't do that easily because of my trauma in my past. But with her, I opened up my heart, and I'm so excited that I'm developing this friendship with her. We're still in the developing stages, and so far, everything about her I love. I love everything about her. I love it. We laugh, I cried with her. We talk about doing things together. And this is, for me, is really new for me to be able to open my heart and invite someone as a friend. And honestly, even
Mhm.
though we're developing this friendship, I don't consider her as association. That is huge. Like I say, I'm real quick to pull out that word, we're just associates. I consider someone who I'm having a budding friendship with. That is new. That is different. That is so different, and I'm so excited about that. So yeah, embracing each other's differences. You don't have to have all the qualities that are the same. Just make sure you respect each other's individuality,
Absolutely.
right? So can you identify with that when we talk about, building friendships, about embracing each other's differences, respecting each other's individuality, even if it's different from yours?
Absolutely, absolutely. I practice that a lot with my spouse because sometimes I can be very, very coachy, but he is very firm.
Mhm,
He is very firm, and we respect one another. We respect our boundaries as well. So
mhm.
I can't relate to this. We understand and respect each other, Natalie, because he knows I do. She's taking her life back, and he will help me out with our son and know that here doing this, and he knows what time. And I respect he has groups that he's with, and I respect the groups and his time, but we also make sure that we make quality time for each other. But
Yes.
it's very, very important to respect one another, because I cannot come in one day and say we have something planned, and I can feel free because of our trust and communication that I can say, hey, I'm sorry, today I'm just missing our movie night. I
Yeah.
don't feel, I want to take a bath and I want to lay down. And you don't want to hear somebody that, oh, I waited all day for, you don't want to hear that. You want to hear somebody that's going to be supportive and understanding, and they're going to be like, it's okay. They're going to respect, go do your me time, do whatever you need to do. And if you still feel that way after that, then we'll pause the movie and we'll watch it another day. But you need that respect as well in your
Yes.
personal space.
Yes.
Absolutely, Natalie.
Absolutely. You need that. For me,
Mhm.
it's so important. As someone who wants to be my friend or someone that I'm willing to take a risk and reach out and invite someone in my life. Yeah, it's so important. And like this, a conflict is inevitable. Even if you're going to have the ideal friend, you're going to have a conflict. That's inevitable. But it's how we handle it that matters. I'm going to say this part about her. This is so
Mm-mm.
funny. And I think she's listening now, but it's okay, right? Things like that. So we're talking about conflict, right? So
Yeah.
we were at my daughter's house for Thanksgiving, right? We invited her because she actually met my oldest daughter first, and that's how I met her, right? So we're at Thanksgiving, and you already know me, Sonia, in my mouth, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes I'm so passionate that I have to sometimes learn how to scale it back, right? So her and I had this conflict, right? But what I loved about her is like, yeah, she got angry, of course, and I'm angry because she didn't want to, do what I wanted her to do. Or listen, we had the little exchange, right? So we came back from Tennessee and we came back to her house, and this is what I love about her. She was able to tell me like, I didn't like when you said this. I didn't like, and like, who do you think you are? And she said, I was
Yeah.
thinking that in my head when you were saying that, and like, who she thinks she is, and who she thinks she's talking to. And what I did was I didn't get angry with her. I actually was laughing because I said, I know me. Sonia, you know me.
I know
Julia,
you.
like I can piss you off. I'm sorry. I could. I have to work on it. But I can be so much of a truth teller that I have to learn how to scale it back. But it comes from a place of passion, but I still have to respect someone to a certain extent of where they're at. So, but she was able to say that to me. Like, I did not like this. I didn't like this. And this was so funny. The conversation was so great that she was able to say, like, how she really was feeling about me. Because I'm
Mhm.
not going to say it. She was like, I don't care who she thinks she is. She bougie this, bougie that. I don't know hell she thinks she that. And she was able to tell that to me.
Mhm.
How rare is that? And for me to not get upset with her because that was her truth. And
Mhm.
again, that's why I really love her because she's able to express her true feelings. And I feel like I want to be connected to someone like even if we don't agree, even though you piss me off, I want to feel safe. That's the key word for people who experience trauma. I want to feel safe enough that I'm able to share with you how I feel. Or, I'm able to receive from the person their truth. That's one of the values that I love about her. Like, cause like again, I'm a truth teller. But don't like if we have a conflict, don't not express your feelings because that's not helping it to grow the relationship. And I know that's going to take time to do, but it's so important to be around someone that you're able to resolve conflicts with. Even if you disagree, you're able to talk about it, you're able to move past it, you're able to express your feelings. And even because of that situation, it allows us to feel safe with each other to be able to say whatever we need to say. And I value that in a friendship. That's so important to me. I don't want to have to hold back, right? I can give it and I can take it too. I can take it. Look, I
Mhm.
had to take it. I had to
Yes.
take what she had to say. Um, so let's move on. Looking at time. Okay. The fourth one is support and empathy. We got to remember that friends are our support system, and empathy is the glue that holds it together. A great friend actively listens and validates my emotions and your emotions. And they seek to understand the challenges that were tied to your trauma. They're not someone that says, oh, get over it. Just get over it. It happened so long ago. Why are you still stuck on something that happened when you was 5 years old? You need to move past that. They don't say things like that. They understand that the trauma that we experience is affecting us. They understand that there's a process that we have to go through to heal our trauma before we can move beyond the place of stuck.
Mhm.
And they understand that traumatic experience is always going to be in our head. So they're really mindful and careful of not to use certain triggering words. They're
Mhm.
mindful not to do certain things because you know what? They're a great friend and they listen to us. And if we feel anxiety, if we feel fear, we feel anger, we feel scared, all those things, they're okay with saying, you know what? I understand. It's okay. I
Mhm.
understand where you're at. This is a difficult thing for you. You're trying something new. So they seek again to understand the unique challenges that is tied to the trauma that you've been through. Right. Key number 5, quality time and shared interests. Spending quality time and sharing common interests, it actually deepens the bond. Friends create memorable experiences together, and how shared passions contribute to stronger connection. That's a good one.
Mm,
You know,
absolutely.
talking about, and I'm gonna let you chime in, talk about shared experience, even before the show went live, she was telling me about like tickets she has for the spoken word. I love spoken word. And we were talking about, spending one Wednesday, and I was like, oh man, we did a talk show every Wednesday. But then I remember, Coach Sonia, we were doing a different schedule where Sonia's now doing her own talk show. I'm doing my own talk show, and we're coming together on the fourth week of the month and doing it together. And I decided that because Sonia, she's just awesome. She's just so passionate. And I like Sonia's ready to take this and do her own talk show. Again, talk about friendship between my team. Not only their team members, they're friends to me also. And I want to support them. I want to help them grow. I want them to support them. And that's why I say, Sonia, go ahead, girl. Do your talk show. Because she filled in when I was sick and I was watching it. And I just like so appreciate Sonia, and she brings so much to the team. I said, you know what? I'm ready now. I'm ready for Sonia to do her own talk show. I trust her enough. I want to support her. I want to see her grow as a coach. Um, so that's important. But talking about spending quality time, we spend so much time
Yes, absolutely.
every day, whether it's in the team group, StreamYard, Messenger. We spend a great deal of time, and as a result, I've learned more about Sonia. I know Sonia. How long I know you? Five,
It's been more than 5 years, like 7 years.
7 years.
Yes.
7 years. But since she's been on part of our team, I've learned more and more about Sonia. There's some things I didn't know about Sonia. That's the reason why I brought her on as a team, because 7 years ago, there was something about Sonia that I like. I remember Sonia. I remember she was very studious. I remember she is somebody who wanted to learn. I knew so much she was like focused on, she wanted to make her life better. And I admired that in Sonia. Again, talk about values. That's some of the values that I hold. It's supporting someone to be on my team. Again, as we're coming together as friends, started out as team members, like she's someone that I trust. She's someone that I feel safe enough with, that I can say, go ahead, do your thing, Sonia. I respect the things you bring into the table. And Sonia's taken off, you know, um, with the things which she's taken a life back. And I value her. And I think that we're becoming, developing deeper bonds and becoming friends. And you don't have to have that just because she's on my team. But I value a lot of the things that Sonia has about us. I value her qualities. I value what she brings to the table. Yes, definitely. Um, where we at? We are at the last key. Key to number 6, healthy boundaries. Yes,
Absolutely.
gotta have healthy boundaries.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. It is so crucial to a friendship that you have balance and a respectful relationship by establishing your boundaries. You know what boundaries does? It keeps you safe. It keeps you um, making sure that your feelings and your values and your thoughts are respected. This allows you to move closer and closer to developing that friendship, and that is so important for someone that experienced trauma. It is so important to set the boundaries. You know what I mean? I remember when I was young. This is like I probably was 15, 16, and I remember that I started hanging out with who became my best friend. In the beginning, like I was so starved and I just wanted a friendship so much because my childhood friends had moved from New York to Georgia. And I wanted a friend so bad that I didn't have boundaries. I'm like, I just want to be a friend. I just want to be a friend. And because she's a truth teller too, she said, Nellie, you know what? You're just being too nice. You just being, she used to hate the fact that I was being too nice. And what she was telling me is, Natalie, set those boundaries. Set those boundaries. That level of values that people are going to respect. Because in my mind, what was boundaries? Like, what was boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted a friend. I wanted to fill a void. I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to be needed. You know, so she was like one of the beginning ones to say, set a boundaries. She really hated that. But since then, I've learned to set boundaries. I've even learned to set boundaries enough that I know that sometimes it might not be received well, but I have to own my truth. And I have to be okay with me and how I feel and how I want to be treated, even at the expense of maybe like kind of turning off somebody. And that's something that's hard to do. And the situation that I just mentioned, I know there's women who are older in situations now with friendships that they have a hard time respecting their own boundaries. They have a hard time developing boundaries, probably for the same reason. They just want to be a part of. They don't want to be lonely. They
Absolutely.
don't have anybody else to call friend. Where do they find more friends? So they accept the friends they have, and friends that do not respect boundaries. It's important to do that. Again, the workbook is going to help you do all of this, right?
Let me chip in real quick, Natalie.
Go ahead, man.
Also, as a trauma addiction recovery coach, Sonia, as a trauma addiction recovery coach, I want to tell y'all, ladies, that it is very important to set boundaries in the area when you're in your recovery journey, either if it's from unhealthy behaviors, anything that it is, you have to protect yourself because sometimes you may let the wrong people in because
Yes,
you just want to you want to fill the void, but you're
yes,
going back to your old ways by filling that void with anything and anyone. So we
yes.
have to set boundaries and set as much as I want to have you because I don't want to be lonely or because I just want somebody to be there with me.
Mhm.
You is not the one, and you is not the one.
Not the
Because
one.
like I said, I always worry about you have to protect yourself. That don't mean limit yourself. That don't mean lock yourself in a room, don't go out. No, learning to set boundaries. And if you want to learn more about setting boundaries, like we said, get that workbook, get that worksheet. Go and view our past lives. We have so
Yes,
much information that is right there on our YouTube live for free.
yes.
For free. The workbooks are for purchase. You
Mhm.
can join She's Taking Life Back, the Learning Lounge. We are on Facebook. We are a private group that you can come and comment and open up and say, well, I am struggling with this. How do I deal with this situation? We can coach you. We can help
Yes.
you and
Mhm.
guide you because that is our purpose. Natalie created this for a purpose. She wanted to help other women. And I'm here because I love that the I love the what you call it. Hold on, I got it.
And take your time. Go ahead. Take your time.
It's uh, it's not the goal. It's called different. I got it in Spanish. I just can't
The
mention it.
purpose.
The
The purpose.
mission. It's like her mission
Oh,
has to
okay.
like her mission that she has for she's taking her life back. The mission and the purpose. That is my mission. That is what I've always wanted, even since I was a kid. Because you have to realize something, and I'm gonna let it go. We help you find your purpose, and I didn't know what my purpose was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what my purpose was. I had lost purpose in life, but I realized that when I was little, I always wanted to help children with disability. I always wanted to help, and I always used to volunteer in little things, and I wanted to help others. It was not for me. I want to do it. So now, as a woman, and being through all the trauma I've been, and being able to heal and see that there's a better life beyond that, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there is a rainbow at the end of the storm,
Yes.
I want everybody to get a taste of that.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Everybody. So
That's
that's
how
what
we do
we
what we
are
do.
here. Yes.
Yeah.
So set
Yeah.
boundaries. We are here to help you, coach you, guide you. Like I say, there are ways. You just have to want it and do the work.
Yes.
Can do the work for y'all.
That's right. You gotta be committed. You gotta be committed to doing the work. Be committed to, like Sonya said, we have free content on our channel, YouTube channel. Come into the She's Taking Life Back Learning Lounge. It's a private group, like she said, and you can be around other women who are like-minded, who have the same some of the same similar experiences. Right? From there, you may be able to develop some kind of friendship, but slowly. Um, this is segment 3, and we want to talk about trusting and assessing friends. We're gonna move to this because there's something I want to talk about. I want to talk about this and one more thing before we end the show. So it is so vitally important, like ladies, like this would be a great time that you can begin to look at your circle of friends,
Mm-hmm.
women or men that you are around regularly. Let's start assessing them, start listing them, and the workbook is going to help you do that. Start accessing them. Now we got to start thinking about like some of the keys that we considered and we talked about earlier, right?
Start
Um,
taking notes.
you start taking notes. Thank you, Sonia. Start taking notes.
Yeah, you have to.
I want you to say this. Like, first, I want you to know this. I want you to take your time. Remember, I said, like, I knew some women that just opened up their life and just divulge everything about them, like on first two times they meet someone. Take your time. Allow friendships to develop naturally. Like, there's things about me that many people don't know because you know what? You have to be in my inner circle, and that takes time before I divulge certain things. There's some people that knew me for years will say, "Oh, I didn't know that about you," because I don't just divulge everything. Like not everybody's privy to the same information, right? And so that friendship and develop slowly. Don't rush the process. That's how you get hurt, and that's how you get rejected. That's how you wind up sharing all of your stuff with the wrong people. Later on, you find out like this is not the friend I thought she was or he was, and then by then you shared all of your stuff, right? So take
Absolutely.
your time. Take your time. Assess how the person respects your boundaries and reacts to your needs. Like when you share things with them. And I remember when I used to do group when I was a counselor, I talked about learning to trust, right? And I took a piece of paper, I can't remember the paper, and I was like, well, let me say it this way. I would share with the group, like, if you're meeting somebody, like, right, and you ask me for $5, right? And I'm like, I don't know you. I don't know you. I'm not giving you $5. But maybe I'll give you 50 cents, right?
Absolutely.
So when I give you that 50 cents, I'm gonna see how you respect me. Are you gonna pay me back? I'm looking. I'm checking for you to pay me back. And even if you can't pay me back this time you said you're going to pay me back, you're going to tell me, I couldn't pay you back then. Something's going on. Can I pay you back another time? I respect that. So I'm watching for that. Because even if you don't pay me back, I can risk losing 50 cents. I'm not giving you $5. These are just examples. I'm not.
Absolutely.
And if you pay me back the 50 cents, guess what? Next time I may give you $1. You're still not getting the $5 yet. But if I'm watching if you're gonna pay me this dollar now. Now if you pay me back the dollar, I'll give you $2. And this
Yeah,
may take some time for me to give you $5. That's an example of how we develop friendships. You don't give it all out. You give a little and you see if they respect that. You see if they respect your boundaries, they're responding to your needs, then you give a little bit more. And then you give a little bit more. And then you give a little bit more. This is how you develop friendships, right? And you communicate openly with them. You share about your experiences. Don't tell them your entire life, even with friendships, right? You don't want to say, you know what, I've been in like 10 domestic violence relationships. You don't want to tell all of that. You don't. You just want to start up slowly. Give them just a little bit and see if there's somebody that understands. Like if you're somebody that's going to on this journey to your next, and let's say you join the She's Taking Life Back Lounge and you connect to some women in the group, you can say, oh, you know what? I've been struggling with this issue that has impacted me and stopped me from going to my next, and see if they support you with that or will they ignore you? You check people out. You pay attention for consistent actions. You want to make sure they develop a pattern of being reliable. You watch this over time. You want to see how they handle commitments. Again, how they show up in your life. Are they consistent? And I want to share this part, trust your instincts. Even though a lot of times, like
absolutely.
we didn't trust ourselves, we that cause us to overlook our instinct.
Mhm.
Learn to trust your instinct because inside of you, like this is the kind of person I want to be with, or this is not it. This is not it.
That's not
Look
it.
for signs. Look for signs. Trust your instinct. Sonia, do you want to share something before I go to this last part?
Oh no, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I know where you're going, so I'm waiting. I want to wait because I don't want to run out of time. I'm waiting.
Okay.
Bring it on.
This,
Bring it on.
yes, this section I've been waiting for because many women who have toxic friends don't know how to break it off with them. They don't know what to say. They're afraid they're going to get angry. They're afraid they're going to be upset. I want us to begin learning like little tidbits. We can't share it all with you, but I want you to learn how to address those toxic friends. Like friends, like I just need some space from them. I need some space, or I just need to totally separate myself from them. But you don't know how to do that. You know, it is so necessary for you to communicate that. You need to be able to tell them. You know, here are three things, three examples, just three. There are many more of things you can say. Like one of the things you need to do again, you need to have clear communication with them. You need to express your feelings openly and honestly with them. One approach could be you expressing your feelings with honesty and kindness by saying, I noticed that our interactions have become challenging for me. I believe some time apart is necessary for us. And you can just rephrase that in your own language, how you would say it. But ultimately, you're telling them that, you know what, it's become challenging being friends. And you either need some time apart from them, or if you're really able to say it, like, we may not be going further because our values don't line up, and you know it, and just being in that atmosphere doesn't support me. You don't want to use the word you, what they doing, just say how it affects you. It's challenging to you to continue the relationship. You want to say that to them. You want to be honest. The next thing is that you want to be able to set boundaries again, communicate your needs. Setting boundaries is so crucial to your healing journey. You know what? I want to give you a statement. I want to give you a statement. Before I do, I have a question. Why is it so important to set boundaries when you're on your journey of healing and transformation? Why is that so important? Setting boundaries is crucial to a healing journey because it establishes a framework for self care. It sets up the foundation for you to take care of yourself and provide protection for yourself. That's what boundaries do. By clearly defining your limits, how much you will tolerate and how much you won't tolerate, you create a safe space and it aligns with your goals for your healing. It shields you from yourself from potential triggers and harmful influences, in friendships. Maintaining boundaries ensure your well-being is the priority. So if you're in that situation, you may say something like, you know what? I reflected on our friendship. I need more space to focus on my healing journey. I hope you can understand and respect my decision. Again, however you word it, what that person is saying is that, you know what, I just had a chance to think about our friendship, and she's not putting it on them. She's saying, I need space to focus on my healing journey. And trying to be kind and said, I hope you can understand and respect this. You know, Example three, and the last one we have for the sake of time, is about self-care, making self-care your priority. You can say something like, I've been reflecting on our friendship and I need to prioritize my own healing journey. You know, to do that, I need some space and I hope you respect my decision. Prioritizing your own well being is so key. You have to make yourself the priority. You may want to say something like, I realize that our friendship is really, and if you can say this, this is somebody who really can say it. And you can be honest and say, I realize that our friendship is negatively impacting my mental
Yes.
health and for my own self care. And I just need to step back. And I hope you understand and respect my need for distance. You know, I want to share something about a real life story with this situation, right? Um, we talk about my best friend, and I had to have this conversation with her years and years and years ago. And it's when I first came into recovery, when I first made a decision I was going to stop using drugs and alcohol, and she was still using it. And I love her to this day. Oh, she is still my best friend. However, the toxic part was that she was
Yeah.
still using substances. And I was saying, I don't want to do this. And I remember like getting with another woman that was a part of my support and say, how am I going to tell her she is my best friend? Like, how am I going to tell her that we can't socialize anymore? That
Mhm.
was like one of the hardest things I had to do early
It
in
is.
my journey of change. I had to make a decision to separate from my best friend. my best friend. And I had to do it. It was so hard for me to do. I can still remember the day that I told her, like I was pacing back and forth, like, how am I gonna tell her? What she's gonna say? She's gonna hate me. You know what I mean? I can easily tell people that wasn't my best friend. Like I'm pretty much, even though I was nicer than, I still was a truth teller. But how was I gonna tell her? And I had that conversation with her. And I had to tell her, I said, I love you. I said, but right now we're living two different lives. And because you decided to continue the life that you were living, it's not good for me. And you know what? She was such a best friend. Her response was, I understand. I understand. I understand that you have to move on with your life. And that was my best friend. So I'm sharing that personal story because there's a point in our life that we have to make those hard decisions. I had to do it with my best friend for the sake of my own well being, for the sake of my mental health, for the sake of my journey of stopping using alcohol and drugs. I had to do that. And as a result of being able to do that hard one, it became easier for me to be able to say, yes, this one can be in my life. No, you cannot be in my life. Yes, I want you in my life. No, you can't be in my life. I had to begin separating who's good for me and who's not. I want us to begin to talk about moving forward, and breaking off a toxic friendship can be challenging, but it's an important step in prioritizing your own healing journey. So as you navigate this process, remember to surround yourself with positive influences and seek support from those who genuinely uplift and understand your journey.
Absolutely.
I also want to add this, like me, Coach Sonia and I is not taking it for granted that this is not going to be easy for you. It wasn't easy for me 35 years ago. But we understand that. Again, that's where we come in as coaches to support you through these steps that you may need to take in order to create this life that you want to live, and to have it included friends who are supportive and aligned with where you're trying to go. And that's by deleting toxic people out of your life, and they may be people that you've been around for years and years and years. It's important. So we can help you with that process if it's difficult for you. But in the meantime, I want to share this because I've thought this to myself, and I heard this. There are times like when we know we're supposed to remove ourselves from toxic people, but in thinking about that, you start thinking about, then who am I going to be around? Again, your first step could be the Learning Lounge, the She's Taking Life Back Learning Lounge. It's a private group. It's filled with women who have similar experiences of trauma like you. That could be a first step when you begin to practice new associations, so you don't have to feel like, okay, I don't have them anymore. I'm out here by myself. You don't have to have that. We have that space just for you, that you can begin to develop friendships. You can connect with us every week on this talk show. We can be that connection for you. We can be that support for you on where you wanted to go, right? So I'm excited as we end this talk show to talk about, again, our exclusive workbook. I'm excited about this. I'm so excited that we began creating these workbooks. We put our heart and soul in it. And it's so designed for women who truly want to make sure they move to their next. Because one of the things I have a pet peeve about is hearing people saying, you need to go to your next, you need to do this. But if you're someone who experienced trauma, you may not know how. You may need the step by step. You may need someone to show you. So these workbooks are designed to show you how. It's designed to give you the step by step. And they're of great value, more than the cost of $9.99. Really, they're valued at $24.99. I say that, but it's only $9.99. So grab the workbook, and it's called Assess and Build. Assess your current relationships and building on new ones. Assess and build trauma-informed friendships. It is designed to guide you these challenging conversations we talked about. It includes practical exercises, communication tips, and self-reflection prompts. So if you're interested, I haven't put up the link now, but maybe by the time you watch this replay, the link will be in the description. Just click on the link and purchase your workbook. Believe me, it'll benefit you if you're someone struggling with this area of developing friendships and removing toxic friendships out of your life. Right?
Absolutely.
Anything you want to share?
Absolutely. My husband, hey, he needed a break too. That's good. My son found his way. Like we always say, we are coaches. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. Natalie's a grandmother. Sometimes she has her grandchildren there while she's doing the live. So we do live. So I am ready to. I love y'all. It was a great show, Natalie. Let me mute it.
Okay. As we going off, let me share with you about what's next. Again, I want to thank you all for being a part of our 4-part Cupid's Chronicles series. But now I want you to get geared up for our next theme for the next month. We're going to be talking about breaking change and healing from trauma bonding. So starting next week, we'll dive into a 4-part series exploring the journey of breaking free from detrimental connections. Join us for a month dedicated to healing and empowering and conversations. We're going to be talking a lot about trauma bonding. But remember, trusting and assessing friendships after trauma is a process, and it's okay to take your time. So until next time, stay connected, stay strong, and build those healing connections. We will see you next week.